Hello everyone, this is Donald and Fergus Productions. I'm Donald.
I'm Fergus.
And today we are going to be showing you the final, and we mean final, Season 2 layout for our series. We plan on finishing the rest of our second season on this layout. And since we've been gone for quite some time, we wanted to make it up to you. So this video, we actually did a time lapse of us building the layout, and it actually looks really cool. If you guys want us to do time lapses for the rest of our layouts, then we will totally do it because it looks awesome just to see the progress on the layouts. And I think that's one thing that a lot of YouTubers are missing when they do their layout videos. I mean, I like seeing their layouts, but I also like to see the process of them building the layout, because a lot of times when you build a layout, you have all these good ideas, and then you eventually have to scrap them. So it's like a behind the scenes of like, let's say, we had 5 lines at the docks, and they're all connected in a crazy way, and then we couldn't use it. Like, it would still be cool to see. So we decided to do a little, time lapse of us building layout before we do our tour, so we'll cue that right now. Alright, Fergus, take us away.
Alright, we're going to have a grand overview of this layout. And as you can see, it doesn't look as grand or big as our old layouts, or our first layout. But let me tell you, it's going to be a really cool one. And we're going to start off at the sheds, where Fergus and Donald are talking, as well as Tony. Sir Tom got out of his car on one of the sidings where an engine could sleep. There's 4 sidings where the engines can just have sleep or whatever, and the turntable has 3 different ways it doesn't go to a siding. This way is these 2 lines, this one, are along the main line. We'll go on the main line on the right side. You'll turn around, go up a bridge where Oliver is pulling Toad. You go down under the main bridge, then turn up to Gordon's Hill where Gordon is pulling the express. You go down under the tipping bridge, where we'll get to there later, and you go to the signal house where Knapford Station is. On that line, there's James talking to Thomas. We're using these 2 stations as part of Knapford Station because the Lego one's kind of destroyed. But anyways, if you keep going where James is, you go to where Percy is, which is back to the sheds. Over here, there's a 3-way switch. If you go left, there's Edward is. And this is where the yard is going to be. And if you go back to where James is, and you go behind Thomas, you go to the signal house, or under the signal house, and you go to where Toby is on the switch, and this is where you enter the docks. And on the left side is where the standard gauge part is, where Cranky is and Salty, who's shunting some trucks into place. And on the right side, there is this crane to where you can put trucks on. And then if you go to where Murdoch is, there's a T-switch, and if you turn, you go up the tipping bridge where Emily is. We'll get to Murdoch later, but if you keep going to where Emily is, you'll go down to the where Bulgy is, crossing the railway, and then this is where you come from the sets. And there's another T-switch, and there's also the water tower right there. And if you turn, this is where Connor is in the airport. We'll turn again, and this is where Henry's Forest is. And you're probably wondering why is the destination Henry's Forest isn't there. Well, we didn't really have enough room for that. And also, yeah, we just couldn't. And this is where Henry is, getting some logs. And if you go around the Sodor Timber Yard, it's Take and Play, but we just still use it. And you go around to where this person is, and you go back to where the switch is, and where Connor is. And Connor's pulling some passengers. This is where the switch comes from. And this is Harold is a Thomas Man. We're just going to use it as Harold because we don't have one. And we're going to use this as Jeremy as well. And if you go back to this switch, Duck is there pulling the aquarium cars. And you go down to this other T-switch where we'll get there as later.
Alright guys, it's me, Donald, back again. It's time to do the part that I worked on the most. I did do a lot of work on the docks, but that was mostly like revising it and everything. So yeah, I think we are going to continue on the line that Murdoch is on, because that's the first one we encountered that we didn't go down. Alright, so here's the docks, and here's where Murdoch is, just so you guys know where we are. This is the part where the docks is, and this is Emily's line. So the docks and Emily's line connect to this T-switch where Murdoch is. So his line goes down through the tunnel, and it connects to a switch where Mavis is. And this switch goes down past Max and Monty. And before I continue on, I just want you guys to note that these are those aquarium rocks that you put like at the bottom of an aquarium or a fish tank. And we found these and we decided to use them because it looks like actual coal. Now we still have our old coal props, I guess you could call it props, from before, but we also have this, which we will be using on coal trains, like where Mavis is right here. She has the dumper car with some of these little pebbles in it, and it looks a lot like coal. So that's just a quick little side note. We will be using those on trains instead of these. So Mavis's line goes down over a crossing, and it goes up through the middle portion of Gordon's Hill, also known as the Mountain Tunnel. And it just goes around to this red bridge where Charlie is, and here's a good example of us using those pebbles in trains. It actually looks so much better. And this bridge is right next to Henry's Forest. So this line just goes around and down, and it just connects to where Connor is. And the last part that Fergus didn't go over is the rest of Duck's line. So Duck's line goes to this T-switch, which is under the bridge that Oliver is on, and it goes to a T-switch, and we're going to go left first. So the left side goes up a bridge over 2 tracks, and then it goes to where Ben is. And this is a pretty wacky part. I had this idea, like, before we started building. I was like, whoa, what if instead of building, like, the whole roundabout thing, what if we just use these risers to make something cool? And so I did that idea. So the bottom line is where Ben is. His line just goes under the track that's above him, and then it goes down a slope to where Bill is with some flatbeds, and there's a little construction site here. And his line just goes straight back to the coal hopper and connects back to Mavis. And then the other line at this T-switch goes right. And I actually found this in my box of Trackmaster stuff. It is a Take and Play Sodor Engine Works set. And I saw it and I was like, I I wonder if an engine can fit under these little tunnel pieces. And I tested it out, and in fact, it does work. So I thought that was really cool, and I was like, okay, we have a works now. We don't have to go buy a wooden railway one for like $100 on eBay or something. So we're gonna use that, and so this line just goes to the stop and go Brio kind of thing, where if you flip it up, it kind of like prevents the trains from, or engines from moving anymore forward. And so this line just connects to the shed where Sydney is, and I believe this is the last part I worked on in the time lapse. This is the part that I worked on the most. And there's also a second line. This second line, this one, is narrow gauge. And I know it's kind of confusing. I know Thomas Wooden Railway and Arsdale Productions both did these wacky parts. So it's like, this part's narrow gauge, this part's dual gauge, this part's the standard gauge, and you can't go this way, you can't go that way for narrow gauge, blah, blah, blah. All of that is super confusing. And trust me, this is the simplest idea I had. So the right part of the shed is standard gauge. The left part is narrow gauge. So the narrow gauge line is, it's not big, but it's not small. It's bigger than our old narrow gauge layouts. So that's a plus. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to the narrow gauge section now that we've completed standard gauge. So the narrow gauge line comes out of the shed, there's a switch, and it just goes to the sorter engine wash because I didn't know where to put it, and I figured that the works would probably be the place it fits the best in. So that's why I put it there. So this line just goes out through the other entrance to the engine works. It goes to 2 switches. We're just going to keep going straight because this goes into the sheds. It's just our old shed, which we used at the Diesel Works, I believe, in our Season 1 layout. And there are 2 other sidings, and Rusty is sitting in the far left siding. So now we are going to go... We're going to go left first. So we're going to go down this line. There's a switch. This switch goes to a water tower, which connects to another switch. And if we go down back this way, we have Coldy and Catherine at this station. I think we're going to put this as Crovan's Gate Station. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be Crovan's Gate Station. So Coldy's line just comes down here, connects to this switch, and it goes back to the switch near the sheds. We're going to continue down this first line, and we pass by the airport, and it just keeps going straight under the bridge that leads to Ben's line. It goes over the Marin Bridge, past the fire station, which we actually put on our layout this time. It curves around, goes under the bottom line in the mountain tunnel, or Gordon's Hill. I can't remember if we did this idea before, but I'm going to implement it. The top line, which is the line that Gordon is on, is going to be Gordon's Hill. And the 2 lines under it, which are the 2 tunnels, we are going to be using that as Henry's Tunnel. So it goes through Henry's Tunnel, curves, round, goes by part of the quarry. This is a Trackmaster Farquhar station, and the station that Coley was at was also Trackmaster. I can't remember which station, but it's also Trackmaster, just so you know. Anyways, this goes under the other line, or the other tunnel at the tipping bridge where Emily is, and it goes around to a switch, which goes to Sir Handel's line at the docks. That way, the narrow gauge engines can pick up anything at the docks if they need to, and it's also a small little yard for them too, since they're 2 small lines. Continuing down the line, we go to the crossing near Murdoch, and it goes through the Henry's Forest bumpy piece, since we couldn't put it at Henry's Forest. It curves around, goes over another crossing. There are a lot of crossovers in this. And then it goes to a 3-way switch. The top line goes by Max and Monty, and it goes to the transfer yard. We have Duncan and Bill here transferring cargo to each other. And this line goes under a bridge, and it just curves a lot because we ran out of strays at the end. Goes to a switch, and if we keep going down, it goes to the switch where Coley and the water tower is. Now, backtracking to this other line, it goes to another switch, goes to a small little siding, and the other line goes through a tunnel, and it connects back to the three-way switch. And this middle line goes up the quarry mine tunnel, goes up again to the highest point on this viaduct. This top line is narrow gauge. The line that Ben is on is obviously standard gauge. I just thought it'd be cool if we had scenes where an engine is going through it and we had another engine going on the bottom or top line. It would just be really cool. So Scarlet is pulling a little rock train. These are also those fish tank pebbles, but they're the colorful ones. We just thought it would look pretty cool. And I know they look like nerd candies, so that's why I spoke up, because we are not using candy on our freight trains. So Scarlet Louise, part of the viaduct goes down, and it connects back to the switch where Coley is. So I believe that is the end of our layout. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We spent a lot of time making this layout. We actually started making the layout right after we recorded our return to YouTube video, so I thought that was pretty neat. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Let me know if you enjoyed this layout or not, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.